Hey guys, yeah, I don't really my YouTube page is going to be more so of I guess just whatever I really want. I'm not really seeing it to I don't really want my YouTube channel to grow into something that I want. I don't want to be a Patreon kind of person. I just don't see that where my life is going. But I do like to post things I'm interested in about and maybe to just garner discussion. Um, so if you're wondering, like, oh, you posted a bunch of Destiny stuff, I'll post Magic the Gathering discussion topics. But I just wanted to talk about something. If you're into Magic, Shadows Over Innistrad today they released the full spoiler, which is awesome. Like honestly super excited when I woke up this morning. It's almost like Christmas for a Magic player every time a new set comes out. It's just really fun. So I'm excited. But I'm just going to click on double face cards, and I wanted to um, kind of vent a little bit. And this kind of happened around last Innistrad. Uh, Innistrad. So there's a lot of double face cards in this set. I mean, Avacyn, really cool. There's another card that really Town Gossip Monger. Like tap it on tap creature you control, transform him. He's a 1/1 for 1. Turns into a 2/3 that attacks, but it can also he's got a fire breathing ability. It's that is an awesome card. Flavor. All these cards have so much flavor in them, and I just really sorry that was my phone. Like these cards are just awesome. But one thing that I've always been upset about was that werewolves were a huge tribal mechanic in Innistrad, and they sucked. And something I'm going to point out is werewolves were not that good in Innistrad. They were later on when you had Huntmaster of the Fells. That card was just awesome, bonkers, and that card was awesome. Uh, but in Innistrad you had cards like Mayor of Avabrook, who is an anthem effect for all your humans, and then when he transforms, he's also an anthem effect for all your werewolves. That's awesome. And you know what? They have some of those cards in this set. But let's take a look at the werewolves for standard. And you know what? We'll talk about modern also. But let's just take a look. So here's two werewolves right here. Really hard casting cost, uncommon. Okay, I mean we better get some value for this double red here. At the beginning of each upkeep, he's got no abilities. He's just a 3/3. So he's got the transform keyword here. Let's flip him, and he becomes actually pretty good. He gives a fire breathing effect, or he gives all your guys +1/+0 on trample, attacking creatures. So that's actually really good. The thing is, why does his human side have no abilities? Doesn't make any sense. Let's take a look at Convicted Killer. Exact same, 2/2 for 3. You're losing value there pretty hard. He just turns into a 4/4. Okay, I mean, still terrible for standard, but I can see that in limited. So let's just go down. Let's look at this common. 5 mana for a 5/4 with no ability. It's pretty terrible. And turns into a 6/5 with menace. That's insane. But the thing is, you have to realize when he drops as a 5/4 with no abilities. So and you have to wait to flip. And so this is awesome. I wish this was a card, but it was sitting at 4 mana, and this was like a 3/3, and it turned into like a 5/5 with menace or something else, something awesome. So this card I'm actually pretty excited about. So my rant isn't just purely negative. A 3/2 with haste, pretty cool in a red deck. Let's flip him. All right, he's a 4/3, and whenever a werewolf ETBs, it transforms. That's insane. That's really awesome. All your werewolves transform, and that forces your opponent to have to play 2 spells to transform all your guys back. That's a great card. That's going to be a 4 of if you're even thinking about even in red deck wins. This card is almost a 2 or 3 of in a red deck. So this is one of the best werewolves they printed. And if you're thinking that's a cool card, but it's not amazing, it's seriously one of the best cards they've printed, and that is just sad. So let's scroll down to the next werewolf here. All right, this one's a 3/2, and whenever he becomes blocked on the human side, he's a 2/1 for 2. He does a damage to any time he gets blocked to that creature that blocks him, and he does the same exact effect, but instead it's 2 damage instead of 1 every time he gets blocked. So that's actually pretty decent. I don't think it's good enough for a standard deck, but it's interesting for limited. And this is the other really good werewolf. I think it competes with the other guy that I pointed out. A 1/1 with haste, transform effect. He's for 1 mana. He turns into a 2/2 with menace. Some say that he is a budget goblin guide. Really great card. Probably, on par with this guy up here. Probably one of the best werewolves in the set. So let's keep going. Let's look at more werewolves. I actually saw this guy right here leaked on when somebody leaked the first pack of Magic cards, I saw his name on the flip card list, and I was like, that sounds like a legendary creature, doesn't it? Nope. He's just a 2/3 for 3, and whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, draw a card. That's actually, he could see some play. And then he turns into a 3/5, so he's really hard to kill unless you throw a lightning axe or a roast on him. And instead, he makes you draw. You get to draw 2 cards if an opponent casts a spell during your turn. So this guy's actually pretty decent. Still not as good as the other 2 red cards, but I still think he's playable. He dodges Kozilek's Return in Standard, and then his flip side dodges Radiant Flames. Dusk Watcher Recruit. He's got a mana ability, which is always good for limited. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card and put the rest on the bottom. Put that card into your hand, put the rest on the bottom. It's pretty good in limited, not really going to see play. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That's pretty good. Still, I don't think it's going to see play in Standard. Because if he was maybe a 3/2 for 2, I just don't think he's going to see play. So far we've hit 2 cards that are really good. The rest of them probably are not. They just can't do it. They're not that good. So here's another one: 2 mana, 2/1 with no ability, flips into a 4/2 with trample. I would say this is good, except for he's got 2 toughness and he can pretty much die to anything, especially with first strike. A lot of these first strike creatures getting printed, he's just pretty terrible. This card right here, I think, I'm going to say this ahead of time, but I think this is the only other werewolf that's going to see play if it could see play, a tribal deck. This would be the only card. A 3/3 for 2, wow, great value. She can't attack unless you have a creature with power 4 or greater. Now that sounds terrible, but it's actually really easy to do, especially with a few enchantments that they printed for werewolves that give them all +1/+1 in trample. You could play that turn 3, and she can swing it as a 4/4 trample on turn 3. I think that's amazing. Then she flips into a 4/4 that has no ability. But you have to keep in mind, she's flipping in as a 4/4, not a 4/2 with trample, or just a 3/3 with an effect, or where is that other one at? What was it? Maybe nope. Yeah, so she's flipping in as a 4/2, and she can block, but she can't attack. So, I mean, when you play her, you don't really have to worry about it. The next turn, you can pop down an Anthem effect, and she can swing in for 4/4 trample as a human side. And then when she flips, she becomes a 5/5 trampler. This card is actually quite good. Synergizes with Surrak, a lot of other really good cards in Standard. So those are the 3 werewolves. This guy's 5 mana. He better be bonkers. Guess what? He's not. His power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. When he ETBs, draw a card. At the beginning of each upkeep, transform him. Let's flip. Vigilance and Trample. Wow, that's awesome. His powers, again, equal to the number of cards in your hand. Not that good because you want to be playing cards, not holding them in a werewolf deck. And he doesn't have a flip draw effect. So he's pretty terrible sitting at a rare. I feel like the Uncommon Menace guy was better. This guy's 4 mana for a 3/4. Not that good. Let's flip him. 5/6 with no ability. Okay. What the hell? Where are the werewolf abilities? Oh, here's the only multicolored red-green werewolf they printed. They could have printed maybe a legendary. I've heard in some of the flavor text there's this guy named Ulrich. He's a horde leader. They could have printed him. You know what? They might print him in Eldritch Moon. That sounds like a werewolf set. That sounds like they're going to print some more, pretty cool werewolf tribal effects. But what the frick? Why are they not printing good werewolves? I know that in Battle for Zendikar, ally decks were not that good, and then when Oath came out, the ally decks got a little bit better because they got some more support. But I'm just really frustrated why they don't really all of these cards are just terrible. I mean, this has to have a deck built. This has to have a lot of support to make this card good because you don't want to be sitting there, without not being able to attack with this card on turn 3. You always want to attack with this card. So you really have to throw a lot of cards that support her. This guy's great, but he could be good in a mono red deck wins. This guy's great on his own. Not game breaking. He's just good for the 3/2 with haste, and then you get this later value later in the game if they do flip it. So those 3 are good, but they're not. None of them are bonkers crazy. Like Huntmaster of the Fells or Mayor of Avabrook. I consider Mayor of Avabrook better than all of the cards I've said that were good in this set. So I'm just really confused. And the reason why I'm so salty about this is I'm gonna check. Okay, I'm at 9 minutes here. The reason why I'm so salty about this is the fact that vampires. Have you seen the vampires in this set? Like, what the frick? They're insane. You can discard a card on turn 2 and play a 4/3 with haste because it's mad on turn 3. Turn 2, you play Air of Falcon. Let's look it up. Air of Falcon. Let's see. Air. Let's search for it. No. Well, there's a black card. It's a 2/1 that has a discard ability, and when you discard a card, she flips into a 3/2 flyer. On turn 3, you can flip her and swing with her. And then there's a red card called Incorrigible Youths, and a madness cost of 3. So when you discard it, you get to. So you use that black card to discard Incorrigible Youth to play this 4/3 with haste for 3 mana, and you're swinging for 7 on turn 3. I mean, werewolves are just not going to win. They're not going to win against a deck like that. Vampires have so much support, and they have support from Battle for Zendikar. It's just Kalidas and Drana, and it's just, why are werewolves getting shafted? They just get shafted again and again and again in every set they get printed in. And I'm excited to play werewolves. That's like one of the reasons why I'm so excited. I mean, so here's Hullpack Resurgence. This is another thing. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about. I'm going to end this video pretty soon. So this card's insane. This card's awesome. +1/+1 and trample for all your wolf and werewolf creatures, and it has flash. So you can play it, end of turn, or you can play it as a combat trick, whatever. The thing is, though, where there is no instant or sorcery that can transform werewolves. And if you're wondering, like, am I telling the truth? Let's take a look at Moonmist. Moonmist. Here we go. Let's view the image. Let's transform all humans. Prevent all combat damage that we dealt this turn by creatures other than werewolves and wolves. Innistrad. Okay. That's an insane card. They didn't print anything like it in this set. Full Moon's Rise. MTG. Let's take a look at this card. Enchantment. Werewolf creatures you control get +1/+1 and have trample. Sacrifice Full Moon's Rise. Regenerate all werewolf creatures. Oh my gosh, that's awesome support in the base set of Innistrad, not released in the second or third set. That was released in the base set. You got Nightfall Predator. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys Mayor of Avabrook. Just take a look at this card. Other human creatures you control get +1/+1. That's insane. That's so good. And here's the promo version. Here's his flip side's a 3/3, so in turn, you get a 3/3. Other werewolf and wolf creatures you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your end step, put a 2/2 green wolf creature onto the token onto the battlefield. Are you kidding me? Why is there not anything like this in this set? And let's take a look at Arlene. So Arlene is considered maybe you could say she's the mythic of this set. Oh man, they didn't put her in the... Oh, she's not in the multicolored section. That's a mistake. But she is in the double-faced. So let's find there. Here she is. So she's technically a werewolf, and I guess I could see the reasoning, like, oh, we printed a werewolf planeswalker, so we're not going to print a mythic creature werewolf creature. She flips into this werewolf, and she's really good, but I just don't see enough werewolf support. And maybe they're just, I think possibly werewolves are going to maybe be a little bit more supporty in maybe a Tarka Red style deck. I don't know. I'm just really frustrated. I would like to hear in the comments what you guys think. Just really frustrated that vampires got a ton of support and we didn't see really much support for werewolves whatsoever.